These are bad people. If we didn't go, Los Angeles right now would be on fire. It would be a disaster.
President Donald Trump today defending his decision to deploy the hundreds of National Guard members to assist with the ICE raid protest in Los Angeles. Across the nation and most notably in LA, groups are protesting and fighting back against ICE deportations. And tonight, protesters in Duluth joined in. There were two protests today, one in the Lakeside neighborhood, the other in downtown. Northern News Now's Ryan Hayes was at the downtown protest and shares what messages they have for the Trump administration.
Here at the corner of Lake Ave and Superior Street, Northwood Socialist Collective are calling for an end to ICE raids.
We protested for this right. We protested for the right to wave this flag.
Ceci Giron's family escaped the Salvadorian Civil War in the 80s and says President Trump's immigration policies are having devastating effects on families.
I feel it's important to stand up for my family and stand up for my brothers and sisters, because at the end of the day, what they're going through it's disgusting. They're being separated from their families.
Jerome believes it shouldn't be in our government's hands to decide who is and isn't illegal.
It was built on illegal and legal immigration, right? And the biggest saying of this movement is no one is illegal on stolen land, right? This land, the Americas were taken from the Native Americans.
Organizer Adam Richer says Thursday's picket is to support protesters in California.
We're particularly here to stand in solidarity with the folks in Los Angeles and San Francisco that have literally been rising up trying to drive ICE out of their community. We wanted to say, hey, that same thing has to happen here.
He's hoping to send a message to Washington.
It's obviously frustrating that it has to happen in the first place, but it's inspiring to see people literally just coming out of the woodwork, coming out of their houses, getting out of their cars, saying, hey, stop taking these people from their workplaces and their homes.
Above all, Jerome is hoping to see families stay together.
No one should have to go out in public and be scared of not returning home to their family.
In Duluth, Ryan Hayes, Northern News Now.
Ryan, thank you. And more protests are scheduled for this Saturday. Itasca County and other Northland groups will be holding No King's Day protests, joining the nationwide movement opposing the Trump administration on the president's birthday.
We want to stand up and be counted. We want to exercise and protect our First Amendment rights. And we want to say that what's going on in this country is not okay, and the American people are not going to stand for it.
Brian Vroman is the leadership team of Itasca Area Indivisible and expects Saturday to be the largest nationwide protest against the Trump administration so far. He says the group is expecting hundreds of people in Grand Rapids this weekend and has received more interest so far for Saturday's protests than ever before.